Okay friends, we're going to make some brioche burger buns today, and I'm going to take these buns and I'm going to turn them into In-N-Out burger look-alike. So I'm hoping these will turn out really nicely. I've never made them before, but I think they're going to be nice and fluffy and squishy and delicious, and I'll show you what they look like now. Okay, here's our muffins. Here's our hamburger buns. They're looking pretty tasty. Give them a squish, see if they bounce back. Ooh, those are fluffy. Those are nice, don't you think? So you can hand mix these, but I'm going to use a stand mixer just for ease and make sure that this really gets mixed up really well. I've been looking for a nice tasty bun for a long time. I've made bun recipes in the past, but I'm hoping this one will be the fluffiest one that I've ever seen. So let's make these. So as usual, the ingredients will be listed below. And if you like this video, please share, like, subscribe, and comment. It helps the channel out. First step is to heat up 120 milliliters of milk, and I'm using 1% milk. That's just because that's what we have around, but you could use other types of milk as well. And you're going to heat this up to no more than 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And then to the milk, add 5 grams of instant dry yeast. Mix it up really well with your tiny whisk. And then you're going to let this sit for about 5 minutes and let the yeast bloom. So what you're going to see with this milk mixture is that you're going to want to see some bubbles forming and or the yeast sort of blooming and starting to form. This has been sitting for at least 5 minutes, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next step. Okay, in a stand mixer, add 300 grams of flour. I'm using all-purpose flour, but you could use bread flour as well if you wanted to. Add 20 grams of sugar, 2.5 grams of sea salt. Mix it around a little bit with your tiny whisk. Go ahead and add your yeast and milk mixture. Add 1 whole egg. Go ahead and attach your dough hook or mix it by hand, and then mix it up. Occasionally stop the mixture and push down the flour. So I decided this wasn't really forming up really well, so I'm going to pop it out of the mixer, and I'm going to use my hand to kind of get this really mixed together really well. Now if you're using more dough, like if you're doing 1.5 batches, it probably would be better to use the mixer, but I'm going to get crazy and mix this by hand and see how it turns out. So this stuff's relatively dry, so I'm going to add a little bit of water, and you want to add this super slowly. If you add it too fast, it's going to make the dough too wet. So every dough is going to absorb water just a little bit differently. So you want this stuff relatively dry, but what I'm seeing here is just way too dry. So give that a good mix for 5 or 10 minutes. So after about 10 minutes of mixing, this is still fairly dry, but I'm going to go ahead and just cover it for 15 minutes and let it rest. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes. What you're looking for is if the dough is kind of stretchy. This actually feels a little bit dry. It's much more pliable. So I'm going to add a little bit more water to this and let it sit for another 15 minutes and let it kind of soften out a little bit so you can actually kind of pull the dough. But this is kind of ripping. This isn't as doughy as I want. So add another 5 grams of water or so. Go ahead and mix this together really well. And what you're looking for is this just could be slightly sticky, slightly tacky to your hands. Okay, this still feels a little bit dry, so another 5 grams of water. Okay, so that's a little bit more sticky, so just form that into a little ball, plop it in there, and we'll let it sit for another 15 minutes. Okay, get yourself 30 grams of room temperature softened unsalted butter. So after it sat for another 15 minutes, take your dough out of the bowl, and you'll find that the dough is much more stretchy and pliable. And then you're going to take your butter and stick it over the top of your dough, and you're going to go ahead and fold this in really well. It's going to be super sticky, so just keep working it, but you'll find that the dough becomes much more smooth and doughy and squishy and happy. Once this becomes nice and smooth, roll it up with your hands and turn it into a nice little happy round ball. And then we're going to take it and put it in the mixing bowl, and we're going to go ahead and cover it with saran wrap. So once you have your saran wrap on, put yourself a nice little smiley face on there with the CTT logo. Make it super sweet and make your dough ancestors happy. Okay, after about an hour and a half, this is doubled in size. So I'm going to put this down, I'm going to weigh it. I'm going to divide this into even dough balls. Okay, flour your work surface. Okay, press it down a touch. Give it a little squishy squish. Okay, now we're going to divide this out into even dough balls. Okay, take your little dough ball and you're just going to roll it up into a nice little ball. Okay, roll it up into a nice little ball. Give it a nice squeeze. Okay, look how cute it is. Okay, then put your little dough balls on a piece of parchment paper on your baking sheet and cover it with plastic wrap so it doesn't dry out. And then you're going to let this sit for an hour to an hour and a half, and what you want to see is that these will double in size. And then we're going to cook these at 390 degrees for 10 to 13 minutes until they're golden brown. But before we cook them, we're going to put a little bit of a nice egg wash on there to get them nice and toasty. And then you can also add some sprinkles of sesame seeds if you'd like. Our second proof is done. So we're going to make a little egg wash. So get your little egg, put a splash of water in it, mix it together. Once your oven's ready, then we're going to put a little light coating of this egg wash over our buns, and then we're going to cook them at 360. We're going to cook them at 390 degrees for 10 to 13 minutes. Okay, the oven's about ready. So we're going to take our egg wash. We're going to give these little guys a nice even coat. You can see that they're super fluffy and lovely looking. So coat each one nice and evenly. Look how fluffy that thing is. That thing is so gosh dang fluffy. Okay, it's 390 degrees. Go ahead and put your dough balls in there, your little hamburger buns. And then what we're going to do, halfway we're going to flip these. We're going to rotate them 180 degrees so we get an even cook. And set your timer to 10 minutes and see what they look like, and maybe add a few more if needed until they are golden brown. That's what they look like after about 10 minutes. I'm going to rotate these one more time. And they're starting to get a little golden brown, but I think they need a few more minutes. So I'm going to put them in for another 3 minutes. This is after about 15 minutes. That looks pretty dang good. Nice and brown. So we're going to let them cool off, and we'll cut one open and make a burger and see what it tastes like. Okay, let's cut it open and take a look at it. Ooh, that looks nice. Nice and fluffy. Squish it, bounces right back. That's good looking, Synth. So we're going to take this out to the grill and we're going to toast it. So we're going to make a burger similar to what they make at In-N-Out. So you're going to take your sauce and put it on the bottom. Okay. Add a nice tomato. It's huge. And then we're going to put on our lettuce. Nice little lettuce pieces. And then go ahead and put your pickles, 4 pickles on. Normally pickles would go on the animal style, but we're kind of doing a modified animal style today. Put your burger together, put it on top of your burger. Put your bun over. Okay. Get yourself a nice close-up, Cynthia. Okay, there's our burger. That's looking pretty dang good. I think I put the onions in the wrong spot. I think they're supposed to go in between the 2 burgers. But we're having a catastrophe outside, a catastrophe cheese. It's a little crazy. But that's looking pretty dang good. I think anybody would enjoy that. Let's see how she tastes. Okay, let's take a look at the inside of this puppy. That's looking amazing. Let's see what she tastes like. It's going to be a hard one to bite into because I got these dang braces. That's so good. The bun's good. I think I over toasted it. But these flavors here are amazing. Make this sucker, you will not be displeased. Bye-bye. Final thoughts on the burger. It's super tasty. But the meat to bun ratio was a problem. So what I would do next time is do 1.5 batch of the recipe as listed. but still only make 6 buns. But then increase the pre-cooked meat from 2 ounces to 3 ounces, because that meat's going to shrink. So you need your meat to bun ratio different. Those would be my closing thoughts. Otherwise, magical. So next we're going to make some In-N-Out sauce. Now this is a special sauce. Theoretically, this has been broken down by J. Kenji Lopez Alt. Years ago, he got a packet of In-N-Out sauce and he strained out all the pickle relish and then figured out all of the components of this. Theoretically, this is supposed to be pretty close to In-N-Out sauce. So what it has in it is it has 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and I'm using a light mayo because I'm trying to be healthy, and 1 tablespoon of ketchup. Again, it's a no sugar added ketchup. And then 2 teaspoons of sweet pickle relish, 1/2 teaspoon of sugar, and 1/2 teaspoon of distilled white vinegar. And then give it a nice mix. And the other thing to note is this is enough to make 2 burgers. So if you need 4 burgers or 6 burgers or 8 burgers, then you need to double, triple, quadruple this recipe. Now, there's also some thought that maybe Worcestershire sauce is supposed to be put in this too, but I just don't believe it. Okay, let's give it a taste. It's pretty dang good. You're going to evenly spread out these 6 little cute baby dough balls. I got poop poop. Like dough balls sometimes? Why are you so hateful of balls? They're just balls. Right on the stinking set. And it will be what? So you can hand mix these. I think the onion's supposed to go in between the burgers, not on top of it. Oh, dang it.
Right on the set.